Oregon 30, Penn State 24. That's the final score. I'm Ryan Parsons. Will Pegler's here. This is our podcast. Will, we got the final score right, just not in the right direction. Welcome back from Spain. Curious where your head is at.
Yeah, man. We did get the final score right. That occurred to me right away that we both picked the same one. I'm devastated, to be honest, man. Last night really, really sucked. We held off on recording until this is Sunday afternoon right now, so just try to organize our thoughts a little bit, take in what others were saying, take in what beat reporters were saying. I think the net is this feels like Groundhog Day a little bit. Another really, 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 really hard loss to a top 10 opponent at a huge game at Beaver Stadium. You and Gabe said it. It was like the biggest whiteout we've had since probably 2019. Really, really tough, man. Really tough.
Yeah. I think by the end of this, we're going to try to have a positive spin on it. It might take a few minutes to get there. Yeah, I mean, when it first ended, I kind of just like did the just stare at the screen thing. Like I didn't immediately react, and then when you called me, it kind of just like it all came out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy we didn't record because I think there were some things that were not for air on there. I It's hard to try to have a take that's like, oh, I'm gonna be the guy that like has the take that fixes everything, or like I'm gonna have the smartest opinion about this. Like, if you're a fan of Penn State football, like a lot of gut punches in recent years, and like there's been really good moments. Um, I think we should be pretty happy that we're in a spot where we're in these games and we're like afforded the opportunity to be upset, but at the same time, it's like you think by accident we would have won one of these.
Yeah, dude. Well said. It's brutal. I think you can try to cut it different ways, and make different excuses or whatever you want to say, but it feels so repetitive at this point. I was listening to Audrey Snyder and John Sauber on their podcast, and they were talking about how it kind of feels like Groundhog Day, like just happening again, and they're finding a million different ways to lose these games against top 10 opponents. But the consistent theme here is the offense falling short in really, really big games against top 10 opponents, and just way too short, putting it all on the defense, having a chance to win like last year against Ohio State, or just not even really showing up like 2023 against Ohio State and Michigan. And yeah, I mean, you have to highlight, bold, underline the offense. I think barely over 100 yards through three quarters, and really no signs of life at the second largest crowd in Beaver Stadium history for a Penn State football game, and 3 points to show for it. Well, the defense also held Oregon to 3 points for much of the game. So it's the offense. I think that is mostly where we should go today. Yeah, man. Where do you want to start on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I think Andy Kotelnicki should be pretty embarrassed. I mean, whatever game plan he had 2 weeks to come up with just was not, it wasn't there. And I mean, some of the play calls he had in big moments, like I think they went Wildcat to Katron. The first play call where Drew threw the pick, that second overtime play, like a lot of he got too cute with it in situations in which he should not have gotten too cute with it. And I know that's his thing, but it just felt like a pretty gross way to try to win a football game, to be honest. I mean, especially when like this is the best personnel like any college football team can ask for. And I mean, I know there's concerns about Drew now, there's concerns about Nick, but I think he and James should shield a lot of the blame here for not getting them ready to play after a bye week and then 3 preseason games.
Yeah, it's exactly what they were. I guess it was, through those 3 preseason games, the offense was almost like the elephant in the room. Like we didn't want to, we addressed it, and we kind of were hoping, hey, they're going to, Drew, Nick, the guys who have been struggling, or they're just going to show up against Oregon. And they did in the last 5 minutes or whatever. And that's the other thing I don't get about Kotelnicki.
What changed there?
I,
Like, what changed when they just started?
I
It
mean,
seemed like they were unstoppable for like 6 minutes. or however long until the game ended.
Yeah, the Devontae Ross's second touchdown, he went. I mean, that was an amazing play. It was awesome. I mean, he like Drew faked the handoff to Singleton, tossed it to Devontae Ross. That looked like Kotal Nike of last year. Really creative play calling, fun ways to get the playmakers the ball. I don't know. It feels pretty inexplicable. And we've said it before. Drew's better under pressure or playing with a deficit, and he was yesterday for the majority of the being down. They went down 14 points and immediately scored. Um, so yeah, man, I don't. I'm pretty speechless at that part of it,
Yeah,
because yeah, I mean, 69 total yards of offense in the first half. I mean, it was really really bad. I don't understand what's happening with Singleton. I think Katron Allen should have had a lot more carries. I know we're running through different points here, but um, just
it's all of it, as James would say. It's all of it. Like
yeah,
seriously,
no, it is on that side of the ball. It is. I think Drew. Look, the complaints about him through the first month of the season or so are pretty like fair now. He looked pretty uncomfortable until the end of that game, and then obviously threw the pick to seal it. So, um, yeah, I guess I'm curious. How would you? And James probably got this question too, but how do you feel about where we stand with Drew after this as fans of him and the team? With a lot, you said it this morning, there's a lot of season left here. Indiana's on the schedule, Ohio State's on the schedule, Trip to Kinnick is on the schedule, and he is the starting quarterback. He's the best quarterback on the roster. We're not turning to anyone else here. What's your feeling right now?
I can't help but feel like he's been failed by James and he's been failed by Andy. Obviously, he's made a lot of mental errors over the his time at Penn State, but at the same time, I think it's very clear when he plays his best football. It's the USC game. It's the Oregon game last year. It's the fourth quarter. He plays his best football when they need points. He doesn't play his best football when it's let's go RPO here, let's get 4 yards, let's run a jet sweep, and now it's 39 and you need 9 yards. That's not his best football. His best football is the deep balls and playing loose and playing with. It's almost like when you're behind and you need to score, it almost loosens you up a little bit because you don't have a lead to protect. It's we need to go get the lead back. And I think James and Andy have really failed putting him into situations or rewriting the offense to where he feels like that more often, even when they're not behind. And I think that came into clarity in overtime. Like that play call, I mean, this kind of goes against what I'm just saying, but that play call in second overtime, I mean, I'm know they ran it a million times last year to Tyler Warren. That's not Tyler Warren out there. Like I don't think they put Drew in a comfortable situation there. And especially when he's unfortunately at this point become notorious for making late game mistakes, I think they needed to do I don't know. I it feels unfair putting it all on Drew, to be honest with you. I mean, he didn't play well, like obviously, but it feels like they failed to tap into his potential a little bit. And I'm just sad for him in that sense.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's fair. That's not unfair at all. To your point, it almost feels like if Oregon jumped out and scored or made it like 14-0 early, then it just would have been a boat race because the game would have been called differently. Like it really feels that way. I'm not saying Penn State would have
Yeah.
won, but I like
Penn State was like, oh, we can just be Iowa here. Like we can just
it
make it
really
3-3 and
really weird. And obviously the run game wasn't there, but and yeah, I mean that's fair. I maybe that is part of why Drew looks so uncomfortable because he still does. He looks like uncomfortable in the pocket until the end where he just scrambled and ran and made some really, really nice decisions to run and tuck it and just run through guys and get first downs that way.
it's inexplicable.
Before that, he looked really uncomfortable. I mean, he was, and this is where you got to criticize him, man. I mean, he missed, he made a ton of throws that were even before the interception. He was throwing behind guys, taking sacks that felt weird to me. Felt like he could have gotten it away and was scared to pull the trigger or was just waiting for somebody to come open. So he has to shoulder a lot of it because at the end of the day, and this is sort of my take, like at the end of the day, Penn State was in a position to win the game. They could have like with the momentum they had, they could have easily gone down scored a touchdown, and with the play calling momentum that they had, I felt like they totally had a 2-point conversion play that would have been money. I mean, you had to feel that way.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
the biggest gut punch of all of this, and that's where Drew does like get a lot of this blame. Like it was the coaches were bad, but at the end of the day, that the defense, Jim Knowles and Kotelnicki at the end, the players were put in a position to win the game eventually, but they had many more opportunities to win the game a lot earlier than that. Go into the locker room with a touchdown lead, even score a touchdown in the first half with the way the defense was playing. I mean, the defense was so lights out, and it felt like Penn State's defense was playing fantastic and doing all they could to slow down Oregon, while it didn't feel like Oregon's defense was all that. Mateo Ngalele struggled with his last name. He looked great, and a couple of the other D linemen, but I just felt it was more Penn State holding themselves back than Oregon's defense stopping them. And I feel like Drew is at the top of that list probably, and maybe the offensive line and maybe Singleton, but I don't know, that's kind of a
Yeah.
disorganized take. But that is where Drew gets the blame. Obviously, the interception at the end of the game, they were in a position to win and they didn't. But the coach's blame, to your point, is I think throughout the game. Really, that first half, there was the 3rd and 9 late. I don't know when it was, if it was the third quarter or late in the first half. They just ran a fake toss for Drew to run it and then just punted. Like they just gave up on it. That's just one that sticks out to me. But there are a million examples of really bizarre drives that were like, you were just waiting for the offense to get going, and then all of a sudden they barely had the ball because Oregon would have really, really long drives. They kept converting on 4th downs, which I think is something you want to talk about. So there was nothing until the end, and I think that's what sucks the most because they showed it. They have the ability to do it. Devontae Ross is a burner, and a couple of those other wide receivers are great. I don't know.
Yeah. I think I'm probably coming off a little bit as like overly protective of Drew right now,
Yeah,
but I think part of that is just I think it's just it it sucks that he hasn't become the 5-star that we were kind of promised he would be, and to me that feels more of a failure of the coaching staff than it does of Drew individually. And I think that's why I kind of feel protective of him a little bit. Um, but that's just kind of how it's been at Penn State. I mean, Penn State's never had, or for such a long time, has not had an NFL quarterback.
no,
And I mean, I know that's not all in James. Like that goes back to before James's time, but like Trace is the number one example of Penn State's. Everyone's like, oh, if Trace wins that game, Trace isn't an NFL quarterback. Like, still, he's not like, yeah, he was a good college quarterback, but like he wasn't developed into. I mean, he wasn't. He was a cornerback or a safety in high school, so that's a different
yeah,
example. But I think you know what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
um, James has failed to get the most out of his quarterbacks. I don't know, but Drew played bad. I think it's easy to look at this game from like when it was 17-3 onward because that's when it felt like the game actually started. But you forget about the first half in which he was extremely uncomfortable. In the third quarter, he was extremely uncomfortable. Like you said, throwing behind receivers. I mean, Blackledge on the broadcast like sounded disappointed in him at times.
I think he
Um,
was. Yeah,
yeah. Um,
and you know what's so fucked up? Like I this is obvious, but if Penn State does go down, like if all of this game, the game plays out exactly the same way, they have a great fourth quarter comeback and Drew looks good during that, and they get the ball back. Deny makes a great interception. They score. Drew hands the ball off to Katron on the drive, mostly short passes. I don't know, whatever you want to say. They
which
score.
is what they should have done, by the way.
If they
Like
did that,
aside, but like,
the 2-point conversion, and Drew has kind of the same stat line, just minus the interception. This is so obvious, but like we're having a completely different conversation if that's the case, because it's like, wow, he showed up in the fourth quarter. He's capable of doing this. He can carry that momentum into UCLA, Northwestern, Iowa, and then we believe again for Ohio State, and maybe we shouldn't. It's the fact that it wasn't different, and it comes down to wins and losses. And even though you lose here and the season is still alive, we even said that before. Even like the Oregon game is not going to define the entire season. There's a lot of season left. It's just the way that it happened, and just another gut punch of just being there. It was there to win, and they just didn't do it. It's why so much of the fan base, and partially myself, feels like, geez, man, how much how much rope can we give Franklin and the team, and just go into these big games like this one is going to be different, and it wasn't. And even if Aller had an ugly stat line, but they win, the conversation's completely different because winning fixes everything. And so that's just the bottom line. That's just it.
Yeah, I mean, if that first play in the second overtime, he hands the ball off to Katron and he gets loose, and then we run the Philly special and score on 2 overtimes, and this field gets stormed, the narrative is Drew Allar was down by 14 points with 90 minutes left and looked as good as he's ever looked in the Penn State uniform and led the team back and battled in overtime and won the game. But it's a fucking cruel game. Like he puts an inch more of air on that ball, and like Penn State's setting up shop inside the 15.
Yeah.
It's such a marginal thing, but just that completely changes the narrative of the season, of Drew's career, of James's legacy, like everything. And it's cruel and it really sucks. And
Yeah.
James said this post game, but like you feel for the players like more than anything. Like I had such an overwhelming feeling there in overtime. Like I want these students in the crowd to run out on the field. Like I want to see Drew have this big game win. I want Nick and Katron to feel what they felt in the Rose Bowl again. Like I want James to have his moment, and it just didn't fucking happen again. And I don't think we're ready to get into like the path forward yet. But like just for now, it's
Yeah. No, it sucks, dude. It's brutal, and it is a game of inches, obviously. With Drew specifically, I think Drew's story is really similar to James. It's like, if you don't do it now, are you going to? And a lot of people, the conversation is happening where it's like, okay, this kid's he's not a 5-star. He's not living up to the potential. He is not going to, because he didn't do it in the biggest game of the year so far. And that's it. And they're going to have to just make do with a quarterback that isn't good enough. And I'm not saying this. I'm saying this is the take. This is really like a common take now. I think people like, this guy is not good enough. We're gonna have to lean on the defense, and hopefully the running game gets going, and we manage to win games that way. Like, are you there?
honestly
Are you there with?
that's
Yeah.
it's really weird because Penn State has been like they've been calling the offense as if Drew's broken already. Like the offense isn't like we're gonna let Drew ball. Like the offense is fucked up to begin with, so I don't think anything changes. Like it's not like you know what I mean? Like it kind of feels like that's how it's been already.
That's super fair. It does. I mean, it's like the weird. Obviously, I mean, he struggles with the RPO. I think that's a fact. But yeah, you're right. And that's where the conversation goes to people saying, "Oh, Bo Pribula would be a better fit for this offense." I mean, who knows? I don't think
Okay,
that's.
if that's true, why is Andy Kotelnicki the offensive coordinator? Like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
if but
Yeah.
first of all, James didn't choose Drew over Bo. Bo transferred. Like James isn't gonna be like, no, don't leave. Like you can start against Boise State. Like that is ridiculous. And if James chose Drew and he knew like Andy isn't the best fit for Drew, this is your chance to win a national championship. So like it's bad optics to fire Andy, but like maybe you should do it. And maybe you should bring in someone not from the Big 12 to be a Big 10 offensive coordinator again.
Fair. Yeah. I didn't even think about the Big 12 angle with Yurcich too. Yeah. That's totally fair. And I wasn't saying I think that's true. That's another. There's a lot of things flying
There's a
around.
lot going on, dude.
A lot going on in the ether, much of which I hate and I think is wrong. But anyway, man, I think a lot of it's fair. Like it feels a little bit like 2023, and I do want to circle back on some other game details, but in terms of going forward, like, it doesn't matter now what Drew does against whoever they have, UCLA, Northwestern. It doesn't really matter until now Iowa is the next one, and it's
Yeah, we're in the preseason again.
right,
Like
which is crazy, but like, and it's sort of, I don't know if you remember that that 2023 game against Maryland where it was just, I think it was after Penn State lost to Michigan and the 14 playoff was officially out of the question. And Drew like went off against Maryland, and we're like, whoa, this could be a fun end of the season. He played well against Michigan State too. Like, there's no more of that, which sucks. Like, it's just gonna be what it's gonna be. He could throw for 400 yards against UCLA. Like, nobody's gonna care.
Mm-mm.
I don't think there's gonna be a lot of room for positivity.
I mean, that's not going to happen.
Right,
Like at
right,
this, like,
right. But anyway, I don't really know exactly the kind of disorganized what I was saying, but I think the loss rides on the quarterback and the coaching staff largely right now.
yep.
And the end of story is like you can write. OS has written 30 sidebars on this over the past 2 years, but they're just not getting over the hump. It's such a marginal difference, and James always says that. Uh, and they know that, and it's just they can't get over that hump. And
It's an intangible thing. It's like
yeah,
what what can James physically do during the game? Like, okay, the one example was punting for the net of 16 yards. That was
yeah,
a terrible decision. He that was a bad decision by James Franklin that cost them 3 to 7 points. And frankly, which is the game, by the way. But besides that, like everything that happens in order for you as a head coach to lose this many big games happens outside the lines, I think. Like uh, it's the game plan, it's who you hire, it's the way your attitude is. Like what does James need to do during these games differently? Like it's intangible. Like I don't know. Maybe
yeah.
someone is smarter than me does, but like you can't put a finger on it other than just saying he can't win big games.
This one especially feels like the Michigan 2023 game. Penn State got bullied by Michigan's offensive line. You could put your finger on that. It was a size thing up front, and that used to be like through our time, through you and me, our time covering the team as students, and then in the kind of couple of years following, that was largely the narrative. These guys are too small. They're getting pushed around by Michigan and Ohio State. It's not the case. Like, that is not the case anymore. They hung with Oregon. They just did. They hung with Oregon's offensive line. Oregon's defensive line got to them, but they finally got momentum at the end and figured that out. You're right, dude. It is. I mean, if Drew, like, if the pick doesn't happen and they just run the offenses they had been running in on those touchdown drives, again, it's so obvious, but like they win. So it's so. And you could say like, oh well, they're inching closer now because it was like a bad pick, but they had to come back and they're one step closer and they're going to beat Ohio State. And frankly, if Penn State goes 3-0 here over the course of the UCLA or not Indiana, UCLA
Northwestern,
and Iowa game,
Iowa.
I'll sell myself on that. Like, we're fans. Like, that's what's gonna happen. It is. Like, am I gonna pick Penn State to beat Ohio State? Yeah, I have to because I did in my preseason picks. Do I feel worse about it now? Yeah, but
Yeah.
it is marginal, and it's intangible at this point because the recruits are there. Penn State is, aside from winning these big games, they have everything that blue bloods have. Like college football
They
blue
threw
blood.
the kitchen sink at Oregon. This was everything. Uh dude, this sucks. Um Wanted to real quick do like excuses, get them out of the way.
Sure.
DDS was held all day.
Yeah.
That blade of grass thing was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Complete momentum shifting. I think overturning that is abhorrent. But if you even for a second insinuate that's why they lost the game, you're an idiot. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should have gone the other way, but like that's not why they lost. They would have. They would. I think there's a difference here. They would have won if that play was not overturned, but that is not why they lost.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I think DDS getting held on all game. There was the one egregious one where Moore like barely got it off on the sideline. It was a great play by Dante Moore. They completed like a 20-yard pass. DDS was clearly held on that play. You can't stop and jump up and down and complain for a hold during the play. And by the way, DDS played awesome, so I'm saying you can't do that. Optics wise, in a loss, that really, really sucks. And anyway, I just wanted to say that. And yeah, man, so when Zachy scooped that and ran, I immediately thought of the Curtis Jacobs fumble recovery in Columbus 2023. Even before it happened, like I was at Mercury Bar in New York, shout out, great Penn State bar. And everybody was freaking out. I was like, we need to see a replay. And we saw the replay, and it clearly was a fumble. And then they cut back, actually, right before they cut back.
Commercial.
I have tweet notifications on for Audrey Snyder, and her tweet was like, "Excuse me, what?" And I was like, "What's about to happen?" And they cut back in, and Oregon has the ball. And so yeah, that was ridiculous. That really, really, really sucked. James said during his press conference, the refs didn't even give him an explanation. I guess the explanation was just they saw that he was down. I don't know how that is. I don't know how that is indisputable evidence. That is,
Yeah,
that's a
I don't
miscarriage
want to dwell
of
on it
justice.
too much. Yeah,
It
miscarriage of
is.
justice.
It is,
Yeah,
to be honest. But you're right. Those were we have to mention those like obligatory.
yeah.
Those were crazy both. But yeah, man, we were talking for 30 minutes. Like I don't think we've come to an answer on what the difference is. Uh,
No, and we never will. Even when it finally happens, which who knows when that will happen? Like, we're not going to be like, oh, James did this differently. It's just going to be like it happened. Um,
yeah,
and it just sucks now that we're in a situation with the college football playoff changing where we'll never have that 2023 or 2022 Rose Bowl situation where it's like we didn't win the national championship, but like we had a really strong end of the season that we're happy about. That's not going to happen again. So we're in this championship or bust mode every year, and yeah, I mean, you're setting yourself up for complete failure. Like as a fan, we have to kind of change our mindset a little bit. Like
yeah,
we're going to be in the playoff, probably. Like I don't. We can talk about this maybe like later or even the next episode, but like you got to change your mindset a little bit. I think. Um,
yeah. I think we
uh,
knew we
I
knew.
don't know if I want to get into big picture stuff yet. I think there's still stuff from the game to talk about a little bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I do. I actually do have a question for you about. So this has been something that's been talked about before. I think when Yurcich was still OC, or I feel like it was a storyline. But James talked about how he'll jump in on the headset and like remind the OC to, hey, mix in a run here, like and sort of give his input because he doesn't call plays. It's a well documented thing. And this is just me as a viewer at home or at a bar watching on TV. Whenever they cut to him, I never see him talking into the mic. The only thing I see him say is field goal or go for it because he makes those
mhm.
calls. Should he be? And this is definitely a conversation we've had before. But is he not involved enough? People have said before that he tinkers too much, especially with quarterbacks because he's an ex quarterback, so he has an impact there and it's negative. Like what is he doing in game? Is it because why is it so bad? Is it a lack of involvement on his part? Is it too much? I think it's a lack of, and obviously you and I don't have the answer. But like, what do you think about that? Because
I mean,
that is yeah,
he's been criticized for being too involved, especially with the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. If you looked at how many wide receivers coaches he's fired, and he used to be wide receivers coach, like there's kind of I think Mike Portman's made that a point a few times where it's like if you look at um just the amount of coaches and coordinators he's had, there's signs of tinkering there. It looked like Andy was rogue out there. Like it almost, uh, yeah, like maybe if you're failing on so many offensive coordinators in a row, that kind of implies that you're the problem. But also maybe his strategy with it is wrong. Like maybe he should be more involved, and especially when they're coming over from different conferences where they have different styles of play. Which, I mean, saying Oregon's a Big Ten team is kind of silly at this point. But yeah, I actually don't have the answer. But
yeah, and
I
that
mean,
kind
what
of
do you think? Like,
the kind of stuff gets magnified in these big games because you're like you said we're looking for that difference on what happened.
yeah, oh,
Um,
it's this thing. Like one little thing can change the whole
it,
game.
it felt like as an example, as a comparison, it felt like Lanning and Tosh Lapoy, Oregon's DC, who was on the sideline, so there's a difference. I felt like they were in the mix together, like so much. I felt like Lanning was very, very involved. And I don't know. I think James's style is much more CEO, and he's sort of across everything and like high level. He knows everything that's happening, like cross like per, coaching personnel, food, recruiting, like everything. And I don't know. It's just something I feel like we always thinking about in these big games, and it's like, geez, like that's a decision that he has to jump in and make, and he did, and he just said, hey, let's do what is the safe move. Let's just do that. Like he hasn't made a decision that makes a difference in these games. It comes to them. It comes to them, and the biggest thing I want to bring up, and I didn't think about this. I thought about it a little bit last night, but then John Sauber on the Nindy Dispatch highlighted it. And his point was, John's take was James, after the first touchdown, they should have gone for two to because even if they don't get it, they're down 8, get another touchdown, another opportunity to go for 2 and tie the game. And look, hindsight is 2020. I don't know, but I did. And somebody asked James in the press conference, was there just a discussion about going for 2 after the second touchdown? Which I was at a bar with other Penn State friends, and I was like, they maybe should. And obviously, and James says this before, if they do that and they don't get it, then obviously it's like, you're an idiot. Why'd you do that? Kick the extra point, get to overtime. But it just feels like we have these kinds of conversations every time. Like, man, should they have been more aggressive there? And I could
Yeah.
think what it was against Ohio State last year, but there certainly was one where they weren't aggressive enough on the final 4 plays at the goal line at the end of the Penn State Ohio State game last year. Like these, and for me, I think that's the biggest moment outside of the offense looking horrible. What you need an expert to diagnose that. I don't know what's going on with that, but just from a like personnel standpoint, the offense sucked, but whatever. You figured it out. You came back in the end, and you were there. You're freaking in it, and you didn't just like. I don't know that's one. I don't think that's obvious. From a fan's perspective, it's like, yeah, kick the extra point, but they are never making these like aggressive decisions to be like, look, Dan Lanning is aggressive as hell. We're gonna be in a dogfight with Oregon in overtime. Let's win this game now on our terms. It just, I don't feel like that's ever been anything that's even been put on the table.
Yeah. I didn't think about the first touchdown. I think retroactively that's an amazing idea because, like you said, if you don't get it, you go for 2 on the next one.
Yeah.
My overwhelming feeling on the second touchdown was kick the extra point because Oregon still they still could just drive down the field and get a field goal there. Like there was kind of that chance there where even if you go for 2 and get it, Oregon can still win the game. They still have 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't think it was worth risking losing the game outright when Oregon could still just end the game on their own terms immediately after.
Yeah.
I was very scared Dan was going to go for 2 in overtime, the
Me
first
too.
overtime. I'm kind of surprised he didn't, to be honest with you. I think he felt like Penn State was, or maybe he was just waiting for Drew to make a mistake. Honestly. But I agree with the first one now that I think about it, and that's a great point by John.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have a CEO head coach, which James is, I think that's pretty well established at this point. I think you kind of have to live and die by this stuff. Like everything else around the program, like makes me very prideful to be a Penn State alum and a Penn State fan. Like, James highlighted how Dante Moore transferred from UCLA and then he sat behind Dylan Gabriel for a year. And James said that he really respected that, and that's the type of stuff that I like that James likes. Like someone who is willing to sit and learn instead of taking the instant gratification of transferring every year. So like that style of, I guess, kind of old fashioned, like doing things the right way, I really like about how James is a coach. But when it comes to the in-game stuff, like you kind of have to realize that because he's so involved in this other stuff, maybe he's not involved in the game plan as much as he should be, which I think is probably unfair to say because I think he's kind of a psycho about it. But what does a head coach have control during the games? You can decide to go for 2 or kick an extra point. You decide when to call timeouts. You decide when to throw the challenge flag, and like that's it. So I think the difference is more off the field than like in-game decisions. Although there were a few in this game that I think he would like to have back.
You think the difference between like the marginal difference between winning these games and losing it, you think it's off the field?
I mean, it's like the 2018 thing where it's like we still got 2 guys who aren't going to class.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the case anymore, but like I don't know. I don't think the defense deserves a lot of the blame, but we had no sacks. Like if I mean I don't know what the like margin is, but like if you found a way to get a sack by game planning better on defense, or like if you're able to make one more play via preparation, and I feel bad criticizing James about this because I think he's very in tune with this, and I think he's, like I said, kind of psycho about it, but it's hard to like it's hard to pinpoint something. I think I'm thinking this way because it's very hard to put my finger on what's going wrong in the games, and like the cop out is just to be like, there's something else going on, because you feel like you're going crazy. Like it's been 9 years since they've won in a, you know, so it's like, what's going wrong? Like when you don't know, your brain starts to just make other stuff up.
Well, I think the easy one, and that's happening right now, is everybody's like, I hate Drew Allar. Drew Allar sucks, which he deserves quite a bit. He threw the interception. He threw a lot of bad incompletions last night. Like he did not play well. But I don't know, man. I mean, why didn't Nick Singleton play well? Why did the offensive line not really get a lot of pushes up front and get the run game going until late in the game? Why didn't they let who take throw the ball deep?
Yeah,
There's other things. So that's what I don't like. Just like people are tweeting like, oh, I hate Drew Allar. Drew Allar sucks. He's stolen these moments from me. Or like people chanting "fuck Drew Allar" in the student section. When Penn State figures this out and starts to win, I'm not celebrating with you. Okay, that's an unproductive
yeah,
thing to say. I hate you. Oh, you hate the student. You hate the I know there's that. Like I know he's making money. I know it's an NIL era. Like he's our quarterback, bro. We're 4 games in. You just hate him. Like we're
yeah.
fans. Like what? Like
It,
and are you gonna be like? Look, I know I'm just sounding like a Drew Aller defender here, and like he played poorly. But are we gonna
it's not
act
just
like
Drew.
yeah, yeah? Are we gonna act like he didn't like? I mean, on those two scoring drives, they came out of commercial at one point. He was just scrambling for a first down on like 3rd and long. Like, oh my god, this guy had like so there's something in there in him, and it's like if you want him to do well, you probably shouldn't be tweeting that you hate him or like,
Yeah,
and that seems lame. Like, oh, we're gonna coddle him. I know it's Penn State. He's QB1. It's a tough job. Sean Clifford got death threats when he was QB1. Drew probably is right now. I bet he is. I bet his DMs are a mess. So it just feels reductive to just be like Drew Aller sucks because there are other problems, and there's been a different single problem in every single one of these big losses. The receivers didn't have a catch against Notre Dame. Was that completely Drew's fault? I don't know, maybe, but like I'm not gonna act like I just know that. Because I can't. There's other things happening off the field. There's coaching decisions. There's play calls being made. Um, so anyway, I just wanted to say that too. I think we're talking a lot about Drew, which is he threw the pick. Like that's the reason they lost the game at the end. But yeah,
I'm really I'm really fucking disappointed in the way some people were acting online after the game and continuing into today, to be honest with you. I know like there's a lot of frustration to be had, and I know that like privately you can say whatever you want, but like going online and like I don't know. I saw Zakee Wheatley's dad tweeted something this morning that was just like disgusted at the way Penn State fans were acting. And at the end of the day, Drew Allar was stands to make more money than like, or before the season or before whenever, like stood to make a lot more money than any other quarterback or player in college football, and he chose to come to Penn State. He could have gone. He probably would have won who knows how many national championships with Ohio State by now, and he chose to come to Penn State. He's 21 years old. He's stuck with James and he's stuck with this team all the way through. And he hasn't delivered in big moments, but giving up on him and saying you hate him and he's a Penn Stater just like you are. So let's like let's support the kid a little bit because I'm sure he's having the worst day out of anybody. And no matter how victimized you feel for spending money on tickets or whatever, Drew's having a 1 million times worse day than you.
well said. Yeah, I think that's a good
And
way to
I
say it.
I know it sounds like we're defending him, but I kind of just feel the need to, like, just based off the way like adults were acting online.
Yes, agreed. I think so. Like off the top of my head, there's a ton of like famous like Penn State Twitter follows or whatever. People like Jeff D. Lowe over at Barstool or like Connor Griffin, who was a big Penn State fan, like in our class. Like those got like those guys led with like a lot of criticism, and it was directed at James and the coaching staff, which is like, yeah, man, that is the one consistent, and like the coaches in college football, like they deserve to take the blame. Like I think that is fair, and I think that's like well said, and they feel super fed up, and so do I. So I think that's the right way to go about it if you're gonna like put out a statement and like share things with your followers. But yeah, going online and being like, "Oh, I hate Drew Allar, he sucks," or like any other, like it's just not productive. Like we don't have anybody else. I guess you could just all season you the guy. I wish we still had Bo, which is frankly which is stupid because that was the Will Levis argument, or people calling for Tommy Stevens when Trace McSorley was hurt in 2018. Gillis, it's not. It's not. Like you're a fan of the
constant here is James. Like through all that, James has been the coach, and it's been Groundhog's Day. So Sean never beat Ohio State.
yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but it just
No, it's fine. I think I honestly, dude, like it's not even like we don't need to do like ball analysis on Penn State. Like you guys saw it. The offense sucked at the beginning. They started to come back at the end. I think the big picture conversation is what we're having right now, and that's like what should be being discussed. But yeah, I think it felt like this after the Michigan loss in 23. I think there were really negative vibes at State College, people throwing trash on the field. I don't know, man, not to be like corny, but like let's stick together a little bit, man. It's like we're 4 weeks through the season. There was conversations before this game saying even if they lose, like, and the way they lost really really sucks. But like everything still is in front of them. Like I guess right now it's hard to feel like they're gonna beat Ohio State. And geez, man, Indiana and Iowa are 2 really tough games. But like you're gonna watch all of them. So am I. Like I'm gonna watch every second of it. So like I don't know. I'm a fan.
we're gonna record. We're gonna record the pod every week. Like
Let's just like lock in a little bit. Let's back to guys. Like we have very good wide receivers. We do. The wide receivers are very good. That's fixed now. In my opinion, I think it's actually fixed. Devontae Ross looks awesome. They weren't getting them the ball last night productively, which is damn frustrating and kind of scary. But that is something to hold on to. Singleton, I don't know what's going on, but I would really hope Allen starts getting the majority of the carries. As much as I'm a fan of Nick's, he's a great guy, but he just does not look right. So that there are things to hold on to and say, hey, like, look, this guy looks good. That's a positive. And I know right now it feels like there aren't a lot. And you can be negative on James, be negative on the team in general. Like this sucks. It's bullshit. Like it's brutal. I feel bad for the people that were there, spent the money on the tickets and went and drove and sat in traffic. It sucks. Like it's brutal. But there's a lot of season left, and we're not just gonna say it's over.
yeah, and I kind of feel bad about like getting mad at the fans right there because obviously like people spent a lot of money and
Yeah.
like had really bad days yesterday, but I just think you should direct that at James more than anybody.
And I
Um,
think, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Jumping off of your point there, like there's kind of two paths forward here. Like one, you can cry and sulk and call for James to be fired and say nothing's gonna change and all this stuff. But like you're gonna watch the games. And unless you had some mental breakdown yesterday where like you actually are never watching sports again, which I'm honestly sure probably happened to somebody, um, what's the point in doing that? Like what's the point of turning on the game every Saturday and being like, here we go again, like this is gonna piss me off. Like if you went to Penn State and you're a Penn State fan and you support this team, like I think honestly you have no choice but to just buy it back in and believe in them. Because as a sports fan, like there's no point in just giving up. There's really not. And it's September 28th. The leaves are still green in Happy Valley. Like it's fucking early in the season.
Facts.
And there's really no point in just giving up. James isn't going to get fired. Bo's not coming back. Drew's not going to sit out the rest of the year and declare for the NFL draft. Like, those guys are going to get in, they're going to watch film today, and they're going to get to work against UCLA. And you have really no excuse to not do the same thing, in my opinion. And I know I sound like I'm just preaching to fans right now, which is like the last thing you want to listen to, but I think we need a little bit of positivity here. Like, not that I'm being positive, but I think you got to show some fucking guts. Like, we've had a lot of bad losses over the years, and just saying, "Oh, here we go again, same old James." Like, okay, stop watching. I don't like.
No,
Let's
it's
show some
fair.
fucking heart. Like,
And it's what, like, look, we these two things can exist. Like, we just spent half an hour being like, what is Jay like? The offense sucked. It was horrible. Kodal Nike stinks. Like, we say all that, but at the end of the day, it's like there's still a season to watch. There is. So I don't know, man. I think moving forward, it's like the UCLA game next week is going to feel really, really stupid. Like a 3:30 kick on CBS in the Rose Bowl again, like that. We're going to be in the Rose Bowl, which is bizarre, and I know that. Like I think it's crazy. Looking at the rest of the schedule here with UCLA coming up, then Northwest, by the time the Ohio State games comes around, I bet Ohio State will be favored by like 4.5, 3 points. And it's gonna be like, okay, we have a shot. We're gonna get up, put our clown paint on our faces, and be like, oh, here we go again. That's sports, man. It's the best. Oh, it sucks. We should be mad about it. We can be mad about it like rest of the weekend, early this week. Like, what is the deal with the offense? That was absurd. Who knows, man? This still Penn State might be the best defense in the country that we have. And we may have just played awesome against potentially the best offense in the country and potentially a Heisman finalist in
I
Dante
mean,
Moore.
Dante Moore is awesome. Like he played really well, like really, really well, and especially in that environment. I don't know if he's the Heisman favorite right now, but like I would put money on it. Yeah, we're in a new college football world. This isn't 2019 where we lose to Minnesota and the season's over. Ohio State last year lost to Michigan, and the sky was falling, and then they just buckled down. And I know some people still like Ohio State fans were upset they lost that game even after winning the national championship, but like if that's how you feel, like I don't know what to tell you. So you're not gonna win unless you're Jalen Hurts. You're not gonna just win every game. Like there's gonna be. It was never going to be easy. It was never going to be easy. And I know you and I probably, or you picked them to win every game, and I know you felt that in your heart. But just because your prediction of them being the best college football team of all time doesn't come true in week 4 means you should give up.
Yeah, well said. Honestly, I think a lot of people do probably. They're kind of like, well, I'll believe it when I see it, and I haven't seen it, and that's super fair. Like, I feel that way too. Like, when are they going to break through and win one of these games? Like, damn, man, I hope it's soon. Like, I don't know,
It might
but
not happen this year. It really might not. Like I wouldn't bet on it, would you?
to beat Ohio State,
Yeah, like
not in this moment. No,
not right now, but
no, no, I
3
wouldn't.
weeks time.
I wouldn't. But yeah, and that's where this gets really hard because it's this conversation where it's like if they go 10-2 and make the playoff and like win a first round playoff game and lose, like the season based on the expectations will be considered a failure. But we're in this spot where it's like, do you fire James? Like
No,
I, I don't think you can. Like, do you fire James and potentially set the program back to this happened in Nebraska, or I'm trying to think of other examples of programs that didn't, but like
Wisconsin,
Miami
I think.
for a long time was like these different programs that they're on the cusp and like, oh, this will be the difference. That doesn't feel like right to me, and it just doesn't. And so if they're not going to do it, and I said this last night, but like I'm a fan. I don't get paid to make the tough decisions. I don't think Pat Crab is making that tough decision. He gets paid to do it. So does Neely Bendapudi or whatever. But so like air your frustrations at James like this weekend, and but yeah, we gotta move forward. We gotta pick ourselves up and move forward. The UCLA game is gonna feel kind of silly, as I said. The Northwestern game is gonna feel kind of silly. The Iowa game is gonna be huge though, and if they go into Kinnick and beat Iowa right before the Ohio State game, then it's gonna be a fever pitch. Fever pitch. The conversation is gonna be at a fever pitch before the Ohio State game, coming off of a bye week, and if we're having this conversation again, then it's like I don't know. Maybe I don't know what needs to happen. I don't know. I don't know the
no.
answer. It
But guess
sucks.
what? If we beat Iowa and it's like a gutsy win in Kinnick, you thought Oregon was the biggest game of James Franklin's career, like it's going to be the same thing. So like the opportunities are going to be there for it to happen again. Right now, I don't think it's going to, but you got to dust yourself off a little bit, and I'm sure that's what James is doing in the locker room. I'm sure it stings a lot, but I really trust him on the 1-0 stuff, like moving forward, which I think 2021 me would like assassinate myself for saying that right now, but like he's the guy for like you can't fire him. You can't.
No.
That
Yeah.
would be ridiculous. Like a lot of no, I'm not going down that train of thought. It's like I'm not going to be like a PR arm for the university, but like we're in a good spot overall, I think.
Were you about to say a lot of people would die to be in this position?
Yeah, I was. I actually was, and I realized what I was saying, and I just stopped.
And you know what? It like it pisses me off when James says that. It does. I said it a couple weeks ago. Like, shut up and stop saying that and win games. And like, yeah, that's fair. Like, I feel that way. I'm pissed at him right now. Like, I'm pissed at the guy. I'm so bad. But like, and you can boo him and don't throw shit. That's messed up. People are doing that. You can't do that, but you can boo. You can. I think you can boo the guy. It's not productive to go and just be like, another. I don't know what I'm saying. That was a failed thought, but I don't know, man. I feel I don't know
I'm
what.
fucking mad. I'm mad at him. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
he fucked it again. He did, and he fucked it. Like,
yeah.
it was there. It really was there. But like, there's a path forward, I think, and I've just this this is bigger than this is bigger than one game. This is Penn State University. Like, we are an entity that's bigger than James Franklin, to be honest with you. James Franklin went to East Stroudsburg. Like, we have to band together as a university and an alumni base and a fan base in supporting our school. This doesn't make any sense what I'm saying right now, but it just to me feels like bigger than like sending Drew Allar a DM that like would put you on an FBI watch list.
Yeah, it's not. Say it to your friends, say it to yourself, but I can't say that enough. The DMing of collegiate athletes and telling them that they cost you money or suck because you wanted them like that. Say it to your friends, like do all that, but tweeting that or putting that out is not cool. So I've already said that, but that really pisses me off. And you're not a Penn State fan if you do that.
I think we just had two failed thoughts in a row, like what me and you just said. Like, I
Yeah,
think we're like trying to
what,
get
man,
at something, and we're just like not.
this is like a therapy session. I guess what our point is like, be mad at James. This is so repetitive. It's freaking crazy that it happened like this again. And it's a completely new way to lose because they got to overtime. And man, I was certain they were going to win when overtime happened because I was like, the defense is playing well enough. The offense can do what they want. It really felt that way. And if the ball bounces another way or the guy slips through his hands, maybe we're having a completely different conversation. But in a way, so be mad at James. But the fact that we are so close, like, keeps me coming back for more. Which is like, man,
Yes.
I'm like a drug addict. But like these games,
Can you imagine if we beat Ohio State under these circumstances? If he finally does it, like, it would be fucking insane. It would be insane, and it's not gonna happen. But like, yeah, I feel like a drug addict. Like what you just said. It's like,
so
what if it happens?
I guess that's the point. It's like, keep coming back for more. Ride in with your friends. Your friend group of Penn State fans out there. Most of the people I'm talking to right now are just our friends. So just
Enjoy
believe
the ride a little bit.
Just
Yeah,
believe.
like
This completely took a turn, but I just I don't you I love that.
wait,
And yeah,
come on,
I
like
don't know, like, you can't just go and be like, well, the difference is Drew Allar. He stinks. We're not a real quarterback. Like, he's not the one. Like, there's something that we are just missing. And I don't know if they can get. Excuse me. I don't know if they can get it in the middle of the season, but it's useless
you
to
gotta
just.
give him a shot.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? We got
Um,
let's spend the next few. Let's talk through it, and then we can be done. We've been talking for an hour. This is a long podcast, but at UCLA versus Northwestern, I already said it. There's nothing really Drew can show to make me be like, yeah, he's absolutely going to dominate at Ohio State because I'll believe it when I see it, and we haven't seen it yet in these big games. So I don't know what's going to change for that to happen. I do feel like the defense is good enough that maybe Penn State can somehow survive and win these games in different ways, win these big games. Is there anything you're like looking for against UCLA and Northwestern right now?
no,
Okay.
no, no. I mean, like the obvious shit, like Drew and Nick to figure it out, and I don't know. These are huge trap game opportunities, I think, at UCLA more than Northwestern, but like, um, I'd like to see them coming out believing in themselves a little bit. Like, I don't know. I keep the Ryder Cup is kind of on my mind, and I was just this morning I was on my run. I was listening to a podcast about the Ryder Cup, and I was just kind of seeing a lot of similarities between Team USA and Penn State, where it's like there's some intangible thing we don't have that Team Europe has. Like I don't know if it's the vibes, I don't know if it's like I don't know what it is, but like we're just not getting it done as of late. And they came out today and like almost pulled up the most improbable comeback of all time and really showed fight when it was it was over. It was over. It is over. They lost, but like they showed a lot of fight.
Mhm.
I would like to see Penn State show some fight and have a little bit of a spine here. I don't know who I'm looking at. Like, I don't know who's going to step up and be a leader here, but I would like to see someone kind of take this by the horns and realize that all of their goals are still in front of them. Because as ridiculous as it sounds, and as much no one wants to hear that right now, it's the truth.
It's true. Drew, it's true. He I don't know how he sounds in the huddle or what the vibes were yesterday, but they need somebody to look to and be like, this is our guy. We lost one game. It's a 12-team playoff. We can win out and still do it. Yeah, it's got to be Drew. The defense is awesome. Like they know what they can do, but like when the offensive line looks, when the important position groups look at, they're looking at him. And to his credit, man, strategy interception. In the fourth quarter, they did show fight, and they looked so bad. But like there's something there is something inside of them, and I like people are probably like so mad right now listening to me say this, but like that
We're not saying anything anyone wants to hear right now, which
I
like
believe it.
sucks.
I do. Like I do. I can't sit here and be like I'm just gonna watch the Ohio State game in Columbus like with no emotion and be like, yeah, they're gonna blow it anyway. Like I'm just not gonna do that. So somebody please be a guy that we can look to and lean on. That's all I got.
Yeah, we're not wired. Me and you are not wired to give up. Like, I mean, I think about being in the press box, the Outback Bowl in 2021, and it like was so over, but
Man,
we were just like, wow, it would be so cool to win this game, which is ridiculous. I we're not. There's no point. I've said this a million times already, but there's really no point in just giving up on them. Like unless James gets fired this week, which isn't going to happen. Like double down. Let's go 10 toes on Penn State, and you can be the fan who's going to make snarky tweets the rest of the year and um, I don't know, like tells all your close friends and family that you're embarrassed to be a Nittany Lions fan and you wish Drew was in the NFL or whatever, or you can just buy back in because being a sports fan isn't about sulking.
facts. Yeah, no, you're right. Enough said. I'm with you, bro. I'm like so with you on that. Yeah, I don't think anything more needs to be said on that point. That's it.
Yeah.
Horrible
Um,
loss. It's a new way of losing one of these big games, man. It sucks so bad. But you proud to
I
be a
don't
Penn?
want it to get lost. I don't want it to get lost how like upset we are. Like
Yeah,
last night was fucking. I couldn't sleep. Like it was really bad. I recorded such a fucked up video and put it on Twitter where I like bought the whiteout tequila, which is like so unnecessary. So like I I don't want it to seem like we're making light of the loss, but like it was terrible. But
I'm with you,
I'm
man.
10 toes.
Me too. I
I'm
think
proud
that's
to be
all.
a Penn Stater. I am. I'm very happy to be a Penn State fan. I'm very happy to be a Penn State alum. And I'd love to see our guys, our fellow Penn Staters, do something special here when no one expects it. Because this feels like rock bottom a little bit.
Go beat UCLA by 50. Get the train back on the tracks. Text me and Ryan if you want to talk. Because we're mad too. But just believe in the team.
You might disagree with us, but we believe.
I think
Um,
I think that's
I
all we
think
got.
that's it, right?
Yeah.
Um, not gonna do the outro this week. I think we could just end the episode. You have anything else to say?
Thank you guys. Go State.